Hey guys, this is Valentina Palladino for Ars Technica, and today I'm here with the updated HP Spectre X2. So this is a new version of the original X2, which is HP's detachable for consumers. There have been some small improvements that make a big difference with this device, especially since it is a detachable, and HP gave it some internal improvements to make it a device you could really work with all day if you wanted to. Our review unit is $1,299, and inside is a 7th generation Core i7 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, Intel Iris graphics, and 360 gigabytes of PCIe SSD storage. So I spent a little bit of time with this device as my main work device, and I'm going to tell you some of the good things and the bad things about the updated Spectre X2. So one of the good things about the updated X2 is this improved hinge design. Just by looking at it, it looks pretty similar to the old X2. However, now it has this copper accented design, which that isn't the best part, but it does make it stick out a little bit more. One of the things is that the hinge now magnetically shuts to the back of the device, which is really nice. It's completely flush, and that copper accent kind of goes along with HP's Spectre theme. But one of the best things now is that instead of having a button here that you were to pull down to release the hinge, you just have these little thumb notches on either side that make it really easy for you to just pull out the hinge like this and adjust however you'd like to work. And the hinge can also be angled up to 165 degrees, so you can go really far down like this, making it really easy for you to use the included pen if that's how you like to use the pen. I typically just put the slab down on a flat surface and use the pen, but this is a really nice angle if you're an artist or you use the pen a lot and you like different angles to work with. So overall, I really liked using the hinge, and it's extremely sturdy. However, since this is a detachable, it's not the best thing to use on your lap. If you were to put this thing on your lap right here, it's a little bit even hard for me to use it because the length of my legs doesn't really support it at the angle that I want to work at. But if you work with the tablet up like this with the keyboard attached, it might be a little bit better for you. Another great thing about the Spectre X2 is that this model has 2 USB Type-C ports on either side. So when you close it up, as you can see, it's pretty thin. And HP managed one USB Type-C port over here on this side, along with the SD card slot, and one on this side, volume buttons right here, and the only thing on the top right here is the power button. So why it's good that it has 2 USB Type-Cs is that, this is kind of just future-proofing of the device. That's where the industry is going, so that's good to have 2 of them here. Also, both of them support charging, which is not always found on every device. Sometimes one USB Type-C port will be available for charging and the other one won't be. And also, both of them are capable of connecting external displays to them and data transfer. So they are completely interchangeable. And since it is such a thin device, HP wasn't able to put a USB Type-A port on it. However, in the box comes a USB Type-C to Type-A dongle, which is really nice. Another great thing about the X2 is that you get in the box when you buy the device a stylus and a keyboard. So with the Surface Pro as the competitor, you don't get either of those things in the box when you buy the Surface Pro. If you want a keyboard case or a keyboard attachment for the Surface Pro, you're going to be paying up to $160 more on top of the price of the device. And if you want the comparable stylus for the Surface Pro, you're going to be paying $100 for that. But with the X2, you get all those things you would really need to make a detachable a true detachable or 2-in-1 in the price of the device. This is a really great keyboard to use. It has a full-size keyboard here. Kind of wideness of the trackpad is takes a little bit to get used to, but it never really bothered me. I never found myself kind of swiping up to where I would hit the space bar, anything like that, which has happened to me before, but it didn't happen to me on this. This display is really nice to use. It's incredibly bright as well. Right now I have it on 200 nits, but this can go up to 450 nits. So it's super bright, and if you like that on a screen, this is really great for you. It's also a what we call 3K 2K display, which is 3000 by 2000 resolution, which is higher than the original Spectre X2 display and the new Surface Pro. So now on to the not so great things about the Spectre X2. One of the things that I could nitpick about this is that the included stylus isn't as sensitive as the Surface Pro stylus is. So this has 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is pretty standard, but with the Surface Pro stylus, that has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity. So if you're an artist, that's going to be extremely important to you. Even if you're someone who likes to take a lot of notes, that could be extremely important to you as well. And another thing is that this stylus, the one for HP's device, doesn't have any real tilt functionality. So if you were to tilt the tip on the screen to kind of shade somewhere, you're not going to get those strokes on the display. So if you are really hardcore into sketching or doing anything with artistry or anything creative and you need that extra functionality with the stylus, this isn't going to be the stylus for you. Another not so great thing about the X2 is that neither of its USB Type-C ports support Thunderbolt. That's kind of reserved for HP's Elite X2, which is very similar to this, but it is more of a business detachable, whereas this, the Spectre line, is more for consumers, so you won't find any Thunderbolt capability on any of the Spectre X2 models. When we were running our benchmarks, though, I can say that this kind of back part here does get warm, and also this is not a fanless device. Because it has a 7th generation Core i7 processor in it, there are 2 fans inside this device, and you probably won't hear it if you're just doing kind of web browsing, video streaming, all that kind of stuff, but when we were doing our benchmarks, I definitely heard it kind of spinning in the background. So if that doesn't bother you, then that's okay, but if you like a silent device, this is not the device for you. So the last not so great thing about the Spectre X2 is its battery life. So on the surface, it might seem like a decent battery life. On our default test, it lasted about 9.5 hours, but comparatively to the updated Surface Pro and to other devices within its same price range and same performance range, it doesn't really live up to its competition. So the updated Surface Pro that we reviewed lasted about 11.5 hours on our default test. And with other things like the 2017 MacBook, the LG Gram, those devices, which are traditional clamshell devices, they last over 13 hours on our default battery test. So comparatively, it's on the low side of everything else. So overall, the updated Spectre X2 is a really nice update to the original device, and it's also a much better value than the updated Surface Pro. You get so much more with this, not even just thinking about the included pen and the keyboard, but you also have those 2 USB Type-C ports, a really nice display, pretty decent performance comparatively. The only type of person that I might recommend a Surface Pro to over this is an artist or somebody who's a really serious creative, because you might just want to get that pen and that's it. Maybe you don't even want the keyboard attachment for the Surface Pro, and that would be the only way that I'd recommend a Surface Pro over this. Also, the value for your money with the updated Spectre X2 is much better than that of the Surface Pro. So our device, which is kind of a middle tier X2, is $1,299. And if you wanted to get a similarly spec'd Surface Pro, that is $1,599. And you don't get the pen, and you don't get the keyboard, and you don't get all that good stuff. And the Surface Pro, when you get it up to the highest specs possible, which is what we reviewed when we did so a couple weeks ago, that's $2699. So you're talking a huge difference, whereas the top-tiered Spectre X2 is about $2,000. Overall, if you're looking for something that's similar to a Surface Pro, but you don't want to spend that amount of money, the Spectre X2 is where it's at.